Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment, we're talking about Lane Kiffin's old recruiting classes and where those guys are now. Express Frame brings you this segment, and you see right there, look, it's turmoil right now at Tennessee. If that's got you down, then remember the good old days, like this UT-themed piece of artwork. Things like this are available at Express Frame. Yes, they are the best framers in all of East Tennessee. They're spectacular. But they have artwork from sports to landscapes and more. Check them out this week. Get by Express Frame, the Commons Shopping Center, North Peters Road. All right, let's take a look. Let's race through some final candidates here. These will be quick. Lance, does he pronounce it Leipold or Leopold?
I believe it's Leopold.
He won 6 national championships at a Division III. Fastest coach in NCAA history to 100 wins. He's taken over a bad Buffalo program where Danny White hired him, and he's won. He's not sexy. He's Bruce Pearl in terms of resume, though. He's exactly Bruce Pearl when Tennessee hired him. Does anybody think he's got any prayer?
I do not.
I don't think Tennessee is that interested. I would argue maybe they should be. You want to talk about building your own culture?
Yep.
That's your guy. I think he would do well here, but I don't think Tennessee is very interested.
That would be a bold hire, not in terms of making a splash nationally, but a guy who says, I know what I'm doing. Shut up and watch. Gus Malzahn, fired by Auburn.
He beats Alabama. When you look at it, if you look at the guys that were fired, you ought to be taking a look at every one of the guys that were fired at big-time programs because they weren't fired for being bad. They just hadn't reached a certain level. What level are we at?
Yeah,
we want to get to that level, right? So that's where I sit there and go, Malzahn, I'm putting him on my list.
But here's the thing, they're going to want to fire him after 3 years if he does that still. I mean, to get to that level thing.
I understand the fans that, when you hire someone, you want to hire someone you think can win a national championship. And the guys that are Tom Herman and the Gus Malzahns, I understand the fans that say, well, that guy's not going to get it. We've seen him at similar programs. He would be near the top of my list just because I think you could, having somebody that can win. But it's a tough situation.
SEC East and beat Alabama in the SEC championship game. You're in the national championship game.
Yeah, that's true.
But I wouldn't be I'd be thinking, can I win the East Division? That's my first step.
Yeah.
Okay. Billy Napier, Louisiana. He's turned down South Carolina and Auburn overtures. I don't know that he'd be any more interested in Tennessee with the NCAA stuff coming.
I would agree.
Bill O'Brien just took the offensive coordinator job at Alabama. He can go through the car wash down there and have his pick of the jobs next year.
Yeah.
And then finally, Kevin Steele. He's the interim coach. We got about a minute here. What's more likely? He winds up as interim coach for a year, head coach for full-time, on the next guy's staff, not even here. What's more likely?
Next staff, be my guess.
I don't know what's more likely, but I would take Kevin Steele and let him run the program. I would. I think of the Derek Dooley, I'd have had Kippy Brown run that program for a year.
Exactly.
And I would do this, and if he succeeds and he's my coach, if he doesn't, then we'll find somebody else.
Yeah, I would look at him like Mike Shula and Matt Luke. Those were guys that were bridge guys rather than destination guys.
The issue is when you do that, you're really trying to hire assistants and bring in a good staff and say, well, I'm just the interim coach. You might have to find another job in a year. You're not going to have the kind of staff you need to build and recruit and be the program that you want to be.
All right,
That's fair, but he may put together better staff than the new coach. Who knows?
Maybe. He's certainly been around long enough to know a lot of guys. Okay. Guys, thank you very much for coming in here. Appreciate it. We covered a lot. Hope you're satisfied. We'll be back here next Sunday, maybe, probably, possibly, talking about a new head football coach and Tennessee basketball. Visit our sponsors. See you then. Thank you.